one of the best looking skyscrapers, one of the tallest ones. If you just look at this image, you do see One Oak being one of the coolest projects in San Francisco. Now, here's the thing. They bought the plot of land. They lobbied in San Francisco to get it built, and I'm pretty sure they got the green lights. And in places like Chicago, Miami, San Francisco, especially Manhattan, if you get the green light to build a massive skyscraper with hundreds of condos and hundreds of apartments, 99% of the time you're going to build it, right? You're 100% going to be getting some sort of investors to give you money to build a tower, because it's so rare. Like, you only really get, for example, in San Francisco, one skyscraper or two skyscraper getting improved a year. So it's super lucky if you do get one built. And not to mention, back before the pandemic, San Francisco was so hot in the real estate department. In fact, if you built one of these towers, it's guaranteed money, right? But now, with so many people leaving because of intensive crime, I mean, Nordstrom is leaving. The biggest mall in San Francisco's downtown has closed down. If you look at Nordstrom, it's just scary. It's eerie. Okay, businesses are fleeing. Nobody wants to live here anymore. This is one of the saddest scenes I've ever seen, especially for America's #1 tech city. It sucks. So if you look at this, One Oak has now given the land back to the lender. Okay, they were going to be making 309 condo units to sell, probably very expensive condo units, ranging from $1 to $3 million, from 1 to 3 bedrooms, maybe 4 bedrooms. You got 460 rental units. These rental units are definitely not being rented out, because right around the corner, you have another rental building. This is NEMA. They have about 700 rental units, and they're like just a stone's throw away from One Oak. So NEMA is already saying that they can't really pay their basic necessities, right? They're really down bad right now. In fact, they're even offering some of the craziest deals. So what's going on in NEMA is you have not a lot of people renting. There's barely anyone. I think most of the units are probably vacant. We don't know how many, but if they're going to be foreclosing on the building, probably less than a third of the units are rented out, because nobody really wants to be renting like a $25,000 or $3,000 studio in a place where there's like intensive crime. And plus, if your tech company has already moved out of San Francisco, why even stay here? If your tech company is asking you to work remote, why would you live here? And that's exactly what people are doing. There's so much remote work that it's causing 150,000 office workers to no longer come back to San Francisco. So if you look at NEMA, they're about to foreclose on almost $400 million worth of loans. This is a high-end luxury skyscraper with pools, gyms, and amenities. And of course, if you're a high-end tech employee in San Francisco, this is where you want to be living. But with most of the units already being empty, I don't even think they could pay their staff, their maintenance, insurance, and building inspection is also getting more expensive, and especially property tax, right? Every single one of these units are scheduled for a massive property tax, and they're asking for a property tax cut. In fact, all of San Francisco landlords are, and San Francisco is refusing because they're down bad. They don't have any money. That's also why they've increased building inspection fees by 15%. All these things do contribute to the cancellation of One Oak. But this isn't the only skyscraper being canceled. If you guys think this is the only tower being canceled, well, we also have another big one, which is Hayes Point. This one actually broke ground, meaning they already got some machinery on the land. So these guys are actually one step above One Oak. One Oak already proposed it. I think they got a green light. They already got the land secured, but this one actually got like machinery on the floor and even a couple employees. So you do have this plot of land, right? It's literally right next to NEMA, the tower that's about to be foreclosed. And also it's next to like Uber, Lyft, Reddit, a few startups, and of course X headquarters, aka Twitter. So they have halted construction in San Francisco until they can find tenants or investors. I guarantee you that they're not going to find tenants. If your neighbor can't even find tenants, how can you find tenants? Investors. Why would investors come here? Why would they invest in a brand new skyscraper when they could just buy the one right next to it that's foreclosed if they really want to buy it? In fact, despite the super incredible cheap prices of San Francisco, nobody even wants to buy. Most people don't even want to buy San Francisco property. In fact, there's just so many other better areas to buy, in my opinion, right? You could go to Texas, you could go to Tennessee, right? You could go to like New York upstate. Even New Jersey's a better option. Florida, there's so many other places to invest your money. You go do treasuries. A lot of CDs are doing like over 5%. Why would you spend so much money and so much risk building a tower, which probably would not get a single tenant because your neighbor buildings around it are basically empty. So investors don't want to come here, and I'm sure the builders of this tower are actually kind of happy that they kind of get all this intel, because a lot of the other towers that recently finished up in 2020 and 2021 and 2022, they super regret it because they kind of wish that they got this intel. But now if you look at, for example, Hayes Point, if you look at One Oak, they got this intel of the amount of vacancies in the city. They're like, hold on. We probably don't want to build this. It's a guaranteed loss. Let's just not build this at all. And it's just not these guys, right? It's really scary when you have boutique developers, smaller developers that build whole entire condo complexes in extremely good areas. This is an area which is next to like the UCSF hospital. This is next to the sea. I mean, it's a good location. It's a good looking condo. And this neighborhood's great because it's all low rises. But if you look at this, how can you get a whole entire condo complex being handed back to the lender? And they built this, right? And it's supposed to have like a bunch of condos. And apparently they couldn't sell a single one, so they decided to sell the whole entire building. Initially, they listed it for $19 million, and there's 24 residential units. So if you do the math, per residential unit, it's actually a pretty good deal compared to 2019 prices. But then they decreased to 16.5, 18, and then just $16.2 million, and nobody wants it, right? I guarantee you 16.2 was probably like their break even, maybe even slightly below their break even price. And nobody wants to buy this, right? Now, if you have this building in like Hong Kong, if you had this in Manhattan or Miami, there would be like hundreds of people bidding for this. Because it's just such a nice place, like a nice area, a nice little condo building that's just recently built. And also you're surrounded by other low rises. This is a high-end demand unit. Like back in 2019, this area was very sought after. I mean, if you go to Google Maps, it's like here. It's like Mission Bay, Dog Patch, super high-end building. Like this is the place where you want to be. So if you also look at other places of San Francisco, you do see a lot of commercial real estate here. And most of the commercial real estate is already faltering. Many of these buildings are being sold super cheap on LoopNet. Seriously, guys, go on LoopNet and check some of these buildings out. They're dirt cheap. And look at this. High-end area, but nobody wants it. It's a really sad time for San Francisco real estate. You even have Hoffman Construction, for example, in Oakland and San Francisco. They're deciding to leave. The amount of new units back in 22 was like 1,500 new condos. Now it's like 200 new condos. So you don't even have any construction left. This is terrible, right? Go to Miami, go to Manhattan. There's still a crap ton of construction. Every single time I open Zillow in those two cities, there's always some new condo building being built. San Francisco is completely dead. Some of the biggest projects have already been canceled, and this is a slow decline of the city. If you don't believe me, well, just look at construction. If a city has decreased construction all the way to like almost zero, that city is basically done for. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below. I hope San Francisco recovers because truly is a great city with a great location, but right now it's not great.